Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this postmortem of my Blitz game number 515. This game is an interesting example of how dangerous Gambit play can be. So let's show it. It's d4, d5, and now e4. Introducing the Blackmar-Diemer Gambit. It's one of the few true Gambits you can play after d4, d5. The Queen's Gambit, which of course is the most popular move there, is not a true Gambit because Black can get the pawn back. White can get the pawn back if Black takes it. But this is a true Gambit. White is giving up a pawn here for long-term compensation and development. And it's a pretty interesting one, although if you look at the evaluation, you see it's not quite sound. Now, if you're not ready to play into this Gambit, you can decline it by playing e6, going into a French defense, or c6, going into a Caro-Kann. And those are ways to play. But best for Black is actually to take it and allow the Gambit. And now the original Blackmar Gambit, that was with the immediate f3 here. And then Diemer came along with this improvement, which is to develop a knight to c3 first. And actually this makes it a much stronger Gambit, although still with advantage to Black. Now the main move for Black here is knight f6. I actually got my move order confused. I normally play knight f6 first and then bishop f5. And instead I did the bishop f5 move first. And he could play f3 right away, which he does. We kind of transpose back into the main lines after knight f6. He goes takes. The chess engine wants to play like this, just to show you. The chess engine wants to play knight f6 first, which is the main line. And then after f3, to go ahead and take and allow knight takes. And then that's kind of the position that White is going for. White is going for this quick development and just giving up the pawn. But in this position, I actually like to play the move bishop to f5. So I've kind of transposed into a position I'm familiar with anyway. This is just a little better for Black in terms of getting more pieces developed. In terms of the evaluation, it's about equal. So, you're not trying to win out of the opening. You're just trying to get a game, basically, and play on from there on an equal footing. And that's why this Gambit is not quite sound, because Black can equalize with good play. Anyway, I played bishop f5 first, and after he played f3, I go knight f6. So he transposed into this position. And there are different things that White can try here. He can play g4, which is kind of interesting, kicking the bishop back to g6. He can try just developing pieces, or he can take the way he did. So let's take a look at this position. I took with the knight, and now I played the very interesting move queen f3. I haven't seen this one before. The queen comes out with a double attack. Yeah, in this position I was mostly worrying about what happens if he takes, I take. Is there some kind of tempo on the bishop? I do have these loose pieces hanging out here that I have to be careful about. Queen f3 looks like a double attack, but the knight can escape with a tempo by taking on c3, or it can drop back to d6, and I chose knight to d6 because I wasn't sure about knight takes c3, queen takes bishop, but I guess that does not really work. Here, let's take a brief look at that. Knight takes c3, queen takes f5, and then knight to d5, just retreating with the knight. I guess this is okay. Yeah, probably a little safer to play than the way I did, because I left his dangerous knight out. Didn't take it off when I had the chance. From an engine evaluation, still about even. He plays bishop f4, hitting the knight, and that's the threat of bishop takes knight, followed by queen takes bishop. So this is my first mistake, really. I'm doing okay so far, but I need to play the move e6 here. It's much better than what I played, which was bishop to g6. So first let's look at what happened in the game. When I dropped the bishop back to g6, he takes the knight, and I took back, and then he grabs on b7, and he's got his pawn back, and he's got some active pieces here. Let's see, I play knight d7, which is the best move. So it's not like a huge advantage for White, but it's gone from a position where I had a slight edge to a position where he had a slight edge, and he's still got some interesting ideas, including a quick queenside castling, and I haven't really, I've got a ways to go to complete my development, so it becomes awkward for me after that. But in this position after bishop f4, I could have played the move e6, just defending defending my bishop with the knight, with the pawn, so that bishop takes knight is not a threat. And then if he tries to win a pawn, which is not the best move here. Now the difference is, just playing exactly the same moves. The difference is that I got my bishop developed. I'm ready to castle, and he only still has 2 pieces developed. He's also ready to castle, but pretty strong advantage to black here, because also I have the open b file to attack his castled position and materials even. So that would have been the way to play it. Of course, he's not obliged to take the knight here. He should just castle and play on. Anyway, that's how I could have played a little better. So bishop g6. This lets him into the game. Allows him to have a slight edge here. After this exchange, knight d7. He comes in with knight d5, threatening to take this pawn. And now queen h4 check is a way to kind of equalize. Notice how the evaluation is dropping as the chess engine looks deeper. At first it thought queen h4 check was really strong for black, but as you let it think for a while, it's probably only a slight edge to black. That would have been the way to play. I played rook b8, trying to chase the queen away, kind of overlooking this move. He has knight takes c7 check, so that comes with a tempo, forces my king. And he has at least a draw here, knight d5 check. My king has no good place to go but to go back. But he can grab a pawn here as well. And now there's an edge to white, and it starts to grow. Once again, I could try queen h4 check in this position. But actually, I was a little bit confused. I was planning to play bishop e7 and castle. And, if you've seen the game, you'll know that doesn't work. But there's obviously a flaw in my thinking there. It's not legal to castle since my king has already moved. So this idea makes no sense at all. What should I play here? Bishop e4 is a way to play and try and stay in the game. Bishop e4 was also an idea at one other point here. Let's back up. I think it's here after knight d5. Does bishop e4 work here? No, he's got the check. Rook b8, check, king e7, 5 check back, takes a7. Yeah, I think bishop e4 right here is the move. And then there's also queen to h5 check. But you see that queen to h4 check. But you see that in all cases it looks like white is keeping an advantage. So really my mistakes occurred earlier, and it's pretty much downhill from here. So I played bishop e7, and he just castled queenside. And now I realized I can't castle. It's not legal. So anyway, I try bishop g5 check. He goes king b1, and I go f6, trying to make a path for my king to get over here to safety. But now this fails immediately, and nicely spotted by my opponent. So he's pretty sharp here. Once again, knight to c7 check. King goes up to e7. It doesn't matter where I go. I'm in trouble no matter what. The problem is that he's got this rook on the e-file. Yeah, okay, I went to f7 to try and stay out of the e-file, but now he's got bishop to c4 check, forcing me onto the e-file. Let's see, if I drop back to f8, then he has knight here check, forking the king and the queen, so forces me back to the e-file. He gets his rook out with tempo. And yeah, good example of Gambit play. You know, all these pieces are being developed with tempos. And I just resigned here. The chess engine says the best move I have here is knight e5, which is to just throw a piece away and not really solve my problems. It even opens up my king for discovered attacks. So a quick finish. Interesting game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Some lessons there on Gambit play. And leave any comments you have in the section below. I will see you again soon.